Anderlecht, Belgium, between August 2010 and June 2014. We enter the city. We follow the streets and end up in a calm neighborhood. You can see several buildings. We enter one of them. It consists of several rooms. We are interested in the room on the first floor. We enter the room. The first thing we see is the big window that overlooks the street. The room is marked by the traces of its occupants. It feels like turning a page to a new chapter of George Perec's life, a user's manual. The room got more and more empty recently. The inhabitants moved and took all their belongings. All that is left is an empty space and the signs of recent and sometimes hectic life. A room is like a safe, an archive where moments and memories are safely stored. St. Petersburg, Russia, from the 3rd until the 19th of July 2014. We entered the room again, but this time we turned the page to a new chapter. We enter a room that is built by drawings and fragmented prints, reconstructions based on a series of pictures. A room bears the traces of its occupants. Their presence creeps into the walls. Countless tracks stick to the pattern on the floor. What will happen to the memories that were safely stored in the room during the years it was occupied? The features of this room were saved in drawings, hoping to retrieve, record, and store the traces of moments, of memories that are left in corners and lines in the structure of this room. The painter Verlaine, in Life, a User's Manual, conceived the idea of a painting that would reassemble his entire existence. Everything his memory had recorded, all the sensations that had swept over him, all his fantasies, his passions, his hates would be recorded on canvas, a compendium of minute parts of which the sum would be his life. Instead of finding the traces of life stored in this room, we find a room that is becoming more and more empty, or you can also say free. Marco Polo once spoke about being afraid of losing his Venice. He said that memory images, once they are fixed in words, are erased. The room is becoming a space that can move freely, liberated from the heavy content of memories. In the 18th and 19th century, a growing interest in the ruins of ancient civilizations and the development of academic fields such as archaeology as well as history established the value of the past. The long disputed Elgin marbles, for instance, sculptured reliefs from the Acropolis of Athens, were held to be some common heritage of European civilization and not merely of what had become of the Greek nation by that time. The composition of a room starts falling apart. Each line loses its relation to the other. New compositions are born. Time and space are unknown. Free from time, free from space. The room floats in this enormous emptiness. By traveling this new world, this new space, the room finds unknown perspectives. It stretches its lines and turns its corners. It is looking for original combinations, different formations. The room is enjoying its newfound freedom, escape from the borders of a building, away from heavy structures pressing on its shoulders. It feels liberated from all the memories that were bumping in its head. It is enjoying its freedom, the new possibilities of moving, turning, spinning, bending, tilting. Flashes of lights appear. The room seems to be floating in its immense sea of memories, which are drifting in unknown directions. There are more and more of them, building new layers, creating new images. Snapshots of moments, fluid traces wandering in this vast emptiness. In front of the room's eyes, all these layers are making new images, creating new environments and moments. It is like places out of dreams in which you travel through a crumbled maze of streets, lanes, and alleyways belonging to several places at once, as if you are in a city that does not exist on the map. The room is mostly attracted to nostalgic sceneries, the almost painted landscapes with their impression of all these possibilities of wideness the room has never experienced before. The room thinks about the borders it can't behold, thinks about how far an image can possibly reach. The room cannot reach the end of its thought. It tries imagining where the streets are going. Where will this line of trees stop? The room thinks. The room feels fascinated by these snapshots of sceneries that were caught only in partial glimpses. Travel constructs a fictional relationship between gaze and landscape. The scene appears to be an assemblage of collective snapshots. The gaze of a room is going in all these different directions. In its attempt to never forget the images it likes most, the room tries to store fragments of them. It can only store fragments because the entire memory would be too vast and too elusive. When you try to stare at the sun, you watch it through the small openings in between the fingers of your hands, which you put in front of your eyes. The image of the sun is too big for our eyes. The light is too strong. Like this you are able to stare at the sun, but you only catch a partial glimpse, never the complete image. The room is building itself with these memories and is trying to store them, to give them a place and anchor them in its timeline. It starts constructing these immense spaces, creating compositions with these memories and organizing them in order to understand and own them. What a sight! The room feels happy, worthy, deep, and above all, worldly. But listen to the words of Nicholas Rose. For something to be remembered, it must first be given the status of an experience, then made available for reactivation through pledges, rituals, songs, pictures, liberties, contracts, debts, the design of buildings, the structuring of space and time, and much more. Before the room knows it, the space starts falling apart. For these are only traces of memories that it has gathered, surfaces that it could glimpse, but the lack of content makes these moments disappear again. St. Petersburg, Russia, the 20th of July, 2014. All that is left is a handful of snapshots. The room tries to grab the last traces of this short movie of its infinite moment. It frames these memories. The images are captured again in a fixed time and a fixed space.